Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Take a deep breath in and let that go. Haven't you noticed it's so much easier when you're in a calm, confident state, a calm state of being, that ideas come to you? When you're stressed, busy, worried, concerned about something, your vibrational energy is low, and it's hard to think of solutions. That's because we're focused on the problem, and it takes calming your state, calming your mind, calming your body, getting into a relaxed state of being, and then wonderful ideas come to you. You have a hidden power, and you can create anything you want in your life. You're co-creating your life with universal intelligence. You might say God, but you can feel that there is a higher power, something directing the entire universe. It's not luck, it's not chance. Things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. Sometimes things are cleared out of your life, not to make you suffer, but to bring you something better, something so much better that couldn't have happened while you were hanging on to the old way of being, doing, thinking, the old things in your life. You have to let them go and make room for something better. Allow the best that is yours to come to you. You are a special, unique manifestation of spirit in this physical body. You are meant to be here at this time, at this place. You have a purpose. If you're feeling that you're playing small, there's something else for you to do. You have to gain the confidence. You have to focus on what it is that you truly desire. You have to allow yourself to block out your five senses, closing your eyes, turning off outside distractions, not allowing the 6-lane highway of what's going on in the outside world, constant noise and sights and sounds and smells. Block those out for a few minutes and just allow yourself to connect with your higher self, with the universal intelligence, with the God that has created you, and through your hands and your works, you have created your current reality. Be grateful to know that where you are now is where you're starting from, and you can have more, you can be more, you can do more. But you must have faith. You must believe that it is possible. It's possible for you, but only when you buy into the new picture and stop telling yourself the old story. or all the reasons why you can't. It takes spending time in quiet solitude, getting a clear picture of if there was no limits, if everything is possible, then what would I choose? Getting clear on that picture and then trusting the process, trusting the power, having faith in yourself and in God and in your abilities. That takes practice. It doesn't come by chance. It comes by designing what does the picture look like. What's going to make you happy to be or to do or to have? Focusing in that direction and letting go of how it has to happen, because there are unseen forces. There is the power of the universe flowing to and through you. But you have to relax and allow it in, allow it to fill you up, allow it to radiate out of you, to become magnetically attracted to all the good that you desire. Raising your vibrational energy, getting into the spirit of what it feels like, what it looks like. What will you be doing now that your goal has been accomplished? Now that you're living the life that you truly desire? There is a feeling, and I want you to tap into that energy, tap into that power. I'm going to read a chapter from The Hidden Power by Thomas Troward. It's called Yourself. I used to study this with my mentor, Bob Proctor. And he would explain you have to relax and let go and let God. Allow this beautiful image to be your life, not just in your mind, not just occasionally, but focus on it so that you can feel it. Focus on it so often, pretending that you're already there. And watch how opportunities show up to take you to the next step and the next step and the next step, so that pretty soon you are living the life that you always imagined. Thomas Troward says, I want to talk to you about the livingness there is in being yourself. It has at least the merit of simplicity, for it must surely be easier to be oneself than to be something or somebody else. Yet that is what so many are constantly trying to do. The self that is their own is not good enough for them, so they're always trying to go one better than what God has made them, with endless strain and struggle as the consequence. Of course, they are right to put before them an ideal infinitely grander than anything they have yet attained. The only possible way of progress is by following an ideal that is always a stage ahead of us. But the mistake is in not seeing that its attainment is a matter of growth. And that growth must be the expansion of something that already exists in us, and therefore implies our being what we are and where we are as its starting point. Don't be worried or ashamed or embarrassed about where you are right now. This is your starting point. No matter how much you've been studying or working towards a dream goal, today is a new day. Today is a new start. Thomas Troward says this growth is a continuous process, and we cannot do next month's growth without first doing this month's. But we're always wanting to jump into some ideal of the future, not seeing that we can reach it only by steadily going on from where we are now. These considerations should make us more confident and more comfortable. We are employing a force which is much greater than we believe ourselves to be, yet it is not separate from us and needing to be persuaded or compelled or inveigled into doing what we want. It is the substratum of our own being, which is continually passing up into manifestation on the visible plane and becoming that personal self to which we often limit our attention without considering whence it proceeds. But in truth, the outer self is the surface growth of that individuality which lies concealed far down in the deeps below, and which is none other than the spirit of life which underlies all forms of manifestation. Endeavor to realize what this spirit must be in itself. That is to say, apart from any of the conditions that arise from the various relations which necessarily establish themselves between its various forms of individualization. Each one of us is the spirit, a piece of God, a spiritual entity embodied in a physical, unique representation. That means you, that means me, that means each one of us is a representation of spirit in an individualized form. You are a spiritual entity. You have power hidden in you. That power is waiting to be expressed in physical manifestation, and the physical manifestation is the last step, the last stage. First, you have to tap into that energy. You have to feel it. You have to know that you are spirit, and spirit is always for expansion and fuller expression. That's why some days we feel worried and scared and doubtful. We feel there's something more to be done. That's the spiritual side of you trying to grow, trying to expand. And not feeling good is your physical human body and your intellect, your logic, trying to hold you back, trying to figure it out. Thomas Troward says, in its homogeneous self, what else can it be but pure life, essence of life, if you like so to call it? Then realize that as essence of life, it exists in the innermost of every one of its forms of manifestation in as perfect simplicity as any we can attribute to it in our most abstract conceptions. In this light, we see it to be the eternally self-generating power which, to express itself, flows into form. This universal essence of life is a continual becoming into form. And since we are a part of nature, We do not need to go further than ourselves to find the life-giving energy at work with all its powers. Hence, all we have to do is allow it to rise to the surface. We do not have to make it rise any more than the engineer who sinks the bore pipe for an artesian well has to make the water rise in it. The water does that by its own energy, bringing as a fountain 100 feet into the air. Just so, we shall find a fountain of essence of life ready to spring up in ourselves, inexhaustible and continually increasing in its flow, as one taught long ago to a woman at a wayside well. Thomas Troward is talking about Jesus talking to the woman at the well. If you study the Bible, you'll understand that passage. But Thomas Troward says this upspringing of life essence is not another's, it is our own. It does not require deep studies, hard labors, weary journeyings to attain it. It is not the monopoly of this teacher or that writer, whose lectures we must attend or whose books we must read to get it. It is the innermost of ourselves. And a little common sense thought as to how anything comes to be anything will soon convince us that the great, inexhaustible life must be the very root and substance of us, permeating every fiber of our being. I learned through Bob Proctor that every fiber of our being is our subconscious mind. That's our emotional mind. And when you have a beautiful image of yourself doing or being or having what you truly desire, when you get emotionally involved in how that's going to feel, what it looks like, what it's like to be there, to have grown into it, to attain that goal, that must permeate every fiber of your being. That means getting emotionally involved. That means getting onto the vibrational frequency of that feeling, that state of being. And then it just happens naturally. When you're in alignment with your heart, your head, your body, every cell of your being emotionally attached to that feeling as if you're already there, that's when you get inspired ideas. And that's when you must follow that impulse, your intuition. Take action. Opportunities will present itself. But if you're not in alignment, if you're not feeling what it's like to be at your goal, having what you want to have, doing what you want to be doing, you'll either miss the opportunity or they'll pass you by because you're too afraid to take action. It starts in your marvelous mind, but you have to plant that seed in your heart and nourish it, nurture it, allow it to grow. Pull out the weeds of doubt and fear, and don't allow anyone else to talk you out of your dream, what you really want to be. You have the power to bring that into physical being. That's why it's in your mind. That's why it doesn't feel good when you're not pursuing it. Thomas Troward tells us, surely to be this vast infinitude of living power must be enough to satisfy all our desires And yet this wonderful ideal is nothing else but what we already are in principio. It is all there in ourselves now, only awaiting our recognition for its manifestation. It is not the essence of life which has to grow, for that is eternally perfect in itself, but it is our recognition of it that has to grow. And this growth cannot be forced. It must come by a natural process, the first necessity of which is to abstain from all straining after being something which at the present time we cannot naturally be. The law of our evolution has put us in possession of certain powers and opportunities, and our further development depends on our doing just what these powers and opportunities make it possible for us to do here and now. If we do what we are able to do day to day, it will open the way for us to do something better tomorrow. And in this manner, the growing process will proceed healthily and happily in a rapidly increasing ratio. This is so much easier than striving to compel things to be what they are not, and it is also so much more fruitful in good results. It is not sitting still doing nothing, and there is plenty of room for the exercise of all our mental faculties. But these faculties are themselves the outcome of the essence of life. Our six mental faculties are not the creating power, but only that which gives direction to it. Our mental faculties are imagination, intuition, memory, reason, perception, and will. We use our will to hold the image of what we desire. Thomas Troward says, these mental faculties are not the creating power, but only that which gives direction to it. Now it is this moving power at the back of the various faculties that is the true innermost self. And if we realize the identity between the innermost and the outermost, we shall see that we therefore have at our present disposal all that is necessary for our unlimited development in the future. Thus, our livingness consists simply in being ourselves, only more so. And in recognizing this, we get rid of a great burden of unnecessary straining and striving. Not by inertia, but by a joyous activity which knows that it always has the requisite power to manifest itself in forms of good and beauty. What matter whither this leads us? If we are following the line of the beautiful and good, then we shall produce the beautiful and good, and thus bring increasing joy into the world, whatever particular form it may assume. We limit ourselves when we try to fix accurately beforehand the particular form of good that we shall produce. We should aim not so much at having or making some particular thing as at expressing all that we are. The expressing will grow out of realizing the treasures that are ours already and contemplating the beauty, the affirmative side of all that we are now, apart from the negative conceptions and detractions which veil this positive good from us. When you focus on what you want and how it's going to feel, and you get into that vibrational energy of a beautiful life, when you're in that state of being happy and healthy and wealthy, give thanks for it already being part of your life. That's how you will get ideas to grow into it, not as looking at what's unlovely in our life. Thomas Troward says, the expressing will grow out of realizing the treasures that are ours already and contemplating the beauty, the affirmative side of all that we are now, apart from the negative conceptions and detractions which veil this positive good from us. Focus on what you already have, all the beauty that's in your life, all the victories that you've already accomplished, your gratitude journal, your victory log, everything that you've accomplished, how perfect you already are at your core. Troward says, when we do this, we shall be astonished to see what possibilities reside in ourselves as we are and with our present surroundings, all unlovely as we may deem them, and commencing to work at once upon whatever we find of affirmative in these, and withdrawing our thought from what we have hitherto seen of negative in them. Take your mind off the negative, and the right road will open up before us, leading us in wonderful ways to the development of powers that we have never suspected and the enjoyment of happiness that we never anticipated. We have never been out of our right path, only we have been walking in it backwards instead of forwards. And now that we have begun to follow the path in the right direction, we find it is none other than the way of peace, the path of joy, and the road to eternal life. These things we may attain by simply living naturally with ourselves. It is because we are trying to be or do something which is not natural to us that we experience weariness and labor, where we should find all our activities joyously concentrated on objects which lead to their own accomplishment by the force of the love that we have for them. But when we make the grand discovery of how to live naturally, we shall find it to be all and more than all that we ever desired in our daily life. Our daily life will become a perpetual joy to ourselves, and we shall radiate light and life wherever we go. Focus on the good. Focus on how wonderfully you have created. Give thanks for where you are now, the struggles you have overcome, the joys that you have in your life. Write out 10 things that you are grateful for. Give thanks for your life and all of the experiences. Those have strengthened you, and you are growing into the person that you wish to become. It's already in you. Create a wonderful day. Radiate that joy and gratitude out, and watch how your life becomes beautiful and joyous. Create a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning at 7. If you're listening to this on YouTube, create a wonderful day, like and share. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice.